Hello everyone, I just came across a Reddit post in which herO says he wants to play off-race as Zerg against Zerg instead of Protoss, and I want to read that and react to it and give you my 2 cents. So herO says, hello everyone, if I meet a Zerg player in the future, I will likely lose, but I think I will end up playing Zerg. I am leaving this post in advance because I feel you might be disappointed. After testing and practicing in various ways following the latest patch, I realized that taking a strategic approach is meaningless. I believe this situation is caused by the combination of the Warp Gate nerf, which is the core foundation of Protoss, and the endless list of Zerg buffs, Spire, armor upgrades, Infesta, Lava, etc. I sincerely apologize to the fans who had high expectations. Regardless of advantage or disadvantage, I believe taking a strategic approach against Terran is still possible. Even if it's not a buff for Protoss, I really hope for a new patch direction comes out as soon as possible for the health of Starcraft 2. Then it goes on and praise the Zerg players, of course. So yeah. We were just realizing that herO is planning to basically give up playing Protoss against Zerg. He wants to play off-race, just like Clem back in the days where he gave up playing TVT and played PVT instead. But the funny thing is that Clem actually gave up playing Protoss against Terran nowadays. He exclusively plays TVT. So it's even if he didn't publicly say anything, if you give up playing Protoss against Terran, it probably means that you would rather play TVT instead. And he doesn't like this matchup. So of course, if your goal is to perform, you're kind of saying, okay, I don't want to play Protoss anymore because it sucks. This is what you're basically saying. You're not saying it, but your actions show that. And now herO also wants to give up playing Protoss against Zerg. He says that if he plays a Zerg, he's probably going to lose. So I just want to say a couple things. I think because it's just not just one reason. Of course, there are many different things. The first thing, of course, for me, I believe the adept pressure are a bit worse because the adept production time frame came from 30 seconds to 33. So if you want to make 2 adepts, you add an additional 6 seconds. And Lava's build faster, so it makes defense a bit better also. So that's the first thing in the early game. Then, of course, you get the Warp Gate change, which is arguably worse against Zerg. So there are different reasons that I wrote here in my little notepad. So I wrote that in PvT, regular gateways are definitely usable, but the issue is that you need to produce units nonstop. Right? That you get the advantage of making units faster, but you just need to produce nonstop. With Warp Gates, you get the chance to decide. With normal gates, you don't. So, and in PvZ, you don't really like to produce nonstop because you make valuable units first. You build Immortals, Colossus, Archons, which are gateway units, of course, High Templars. And then you decide whether you want to make, for example, an extra Nexus, Cannon, Zealots, and so on. But you don't really want to just make non-stop Zealots against Zerg. Zealots are not very good. It's more a run by and harassment or timing attack units more than the units you want to spam. Whereas against Terran, you kind of want to spam Zealots non-stop, especially in the mineral-heavy playstyles that are very popular these days. So it's not so much of a problem. And the thing is, like in PvZ, also Warp Gates give you the option for Prism harassment later in the game, give you the potential to, do Archon drop and so on, all kind of pressures, like Zealot Archon Immortal is also very nice in the early game. So, and all of that, of course, making you pay for Warp Gates is nerfing these strategies because overall the regular gateway is probably a bit better defensively, but Warp Gates are better offensively. But against Zerg, you kind of want to be on the other side of the map and put pressure. Whereas against Terran, you're usually the one receiving, although, of course, you have blink pressures and so on. But, overall, you like to attack against Zerg. The go-to PvZ was Adept pressure, and then Oracles show up and put some pressure, and then you attack with Stalkers, with Oracles, or maybe Zealot Archon, something with a Prism, something along those lines. But the 2 latter options are way worse because of the Warp Gate change. So, and not just that, of course, it's a myriad of different reasons. Like even herO mentioned a few of them, like Lava, armor upgrades, Spire, and so on. I mean, I don't know if the Spire change is responsible for making you change race, but it's still one change among many other. And So herO basically says he's gonna, play ZVZ instead, which is a very big tell because, ironically, herO has been someone who revolutionized the matchup a few times. I don't know if you remember when we were stuck in the Void Ray era. We didn't really know what to do, and then he showed up, took Nexus faster, played around the gateway units, played around the Stalker, which we all thought was a garbage unit, and made it look very good. He revolutionized the matchup several times in this way. But here he feels pretty lost. He doesn't really know what to do. And yeah, I've also noticed that Zaun is actually thinking about quitting the game. He's already transitioning into real life stuff, quote unquote. And I heard Classic, another Protoss player of great talent, is moving away from Starcraft 2 towards Brood War, apparently. So it's not just the patch, but it's also a a thing you want to take into account. So I wanted to check also the Aligulac of herO. So you can see here, his matchup roughly equal. His PvP is a bit better, but we don't care too much. But you look at the form, you see against Zerg is doing 66% overall. Now it's dropped to 50%, so he's really struggling big time against Zerg. And actually the mirror matchup against Pro, where he's doing extremely well, way better than the other two, especially PVZ. And I checked a little bit his win rates, and he's actually getting farmed big time by the Zerg. So here he's losing 3-0 to Solar, right? Now he's losing to Shin 2-1. Oh, I need to actually click on the match history. Yes, I'm not a bot. There you go. So he lost to Solar 3-0, he lost to Shin, he lost to Shin again 3-1, he lost to Shin again, he lost to Rogue. Got destroyed by Cure, but it's not a Zerg. He lost to Solar again, 2-0, then 0-3 again against Rogue, then he lost against Shin. So that's okay. Months ago. So yeah, he's getting really, really farmed big time in this matchup. And what did I open at other tabs? Yeah, this is Rogue. Yeah, this is Rogue, for example. So Rogue, in this case, he lost a ZVZ, he lost a ZVZ, he lost to Terran, lost to Zerg again, lost to ZVZ. Yeah, lost to ZVZ, lost to Terran, lost to Terran, lost to Terran, lost to Terran. So you see, on all these pages, Rogue has lost 0 PVZ. So I mean, of course, he played herO, herO again, Classic, herO again, Mana, Cyan, Hearthstone. I mean, pretty good opponents. Of course, Rogue is an amazing player, but you would expect herO to win every now and then, or Classic to take a couple maps, but it feels like these poor guys are just getting completely destroyed. And I was reading through the comments. Why doesn't he just listen to Pig, who says PVZ is easy? I have not listened to Pig, so I have no opinion on the matter. But I do believe that all these changes need to be addressed when you've got Protoss players at the very high level retiring. And, of course, we need to figure things out. But I was watching Max Pax's stream the other day, and he was writing in the chat that he also really despised the warp gate change because it makes the aggressive options way worse. And I think for the health of StarCraft 2, everybody will agree in this case that some things need to be addressed. And so I don't know exactly what to do, but I don't know. I feel like the warp gate was the core identity of the Protoss race, as herO wrote in this post. And it's basically gone. It gives you less options. Also, all the hit points of the units, how long they get built, the damage output, all of that were measured from the gateway, right? The possibility to basically have the units immediately on the other side of the map, which is not the case anymore. I mean, yeah, you do have warp gates, they do exist, but in the early game, in the early stages, having to pay especially 25 gas every time you want to morph a gate into warp gate makes things way worse. Like, imagine you want to play a 4-gate blink against Terran. Well, you need to pay 100 gas to morph all of that into warp gates. It is pretty expensive, especially when you're on 2 gases. And if you want to add 1 more gas, well, you delay the build even more. And on the flip side, you also made the command center build quicker, so it's a bit easier to defend, and the adept also takes longer to build, so the adept pressure are basically gone because the adepts take too long and the CC builds faster. So in PvT also the early game options have been diminished. So in the end, now we have a little bit of we have a couple months of reflection and analysis, and we can really say that this patch has not increased the variability or like the viability of new strategies. Variety is the word I was looking for. Less variety. It's actually quite the opposite in the end. We have less options, and feels like everybody's complaining. And the funny thing is that usually people are very happy about changes. Some people are reluctant to change, of course, but overall change is very welcome in the game. People want change, but it's the first time that I can recall that people have been extremely opposed to this change and want to revert it back. There were probably changes. The last change I can think of where some people were against it, maybe the mothership core change. Although I think overall it's poorly designed unit, to be fair. I think the game is probably better without it. But yeah, there's a big consensus against this patch. And to be fair, I have no clue what's going on in the discussions because I'm not part of the Discord anymore where discussions happen. I've left it a long time ago. I've been kicked, rather. But yeah, either way, I don't know what's going to happen next. I really hope that you guys keep on playing. I hope we can still enjoy the game as much as possible. But it would be nice to have someone who actually knows what they're doing step in and do something healthy for the game. Because, yeah, even if herO, who I've met a couple times, a very optimistic person, always smiling, always full of energy, and if he feels so oppressed and hopeless, maybe it's a sign that we need to address the problem.